tells you to put on the apron in the LDS temple? That was a topic of big discussion a couple of months ago. There's a lot of back and forth between my husband, Dallin Lyman, and Brother Miller and myself, all talking about who tells you to put on the apron and what it means. Just scroll back a couple videos on my page and you'll get the rundown. And this is where it ended, with Brother Miller making up the idea that when you put the apron on again and again, it now represents the covering of Jesus. And me pointing out that that's a flat out lie, because we're clearly told that the coat of skins, which is our garments, represents the covering of Jesus. In my last video on the subject, I mentioned that there were changes to the temple in 2019, and then I was pretty sure there were more changes around 2023, but I wasn't sure when that happened or what the changes were. Well, now I finally have all the information for you. I'm going to put the link to this PDF in the video description and my link tree so you can go see for yourself. But this document compares the changes to the endowment made in 1990, 2019, and in 2023. I'll show you some screenshots in just a minute, but let me tell you why this is so important. The apron in the temple, we're told, represents hiding our nakedness or hiding from God. So Satan instructs Adam and Eve to put on the apron. They obey him, and we all obey him. We all follow Satan's instructions to hide from God wearing the apron. The changes they made in 2023 are so significant because it completely changes this narrative and what plays out. Starting on page 9, there's the comparison of pre-1990 to post-1990. Words that were added are in green and words that were removed are in red. So in 1990, Adam says, "What is that apron you have on?" Lucifer says, "It's an emblem of my power and priesthoods." Adam used to question priesthoods, and Lucifer said, yes, priesthoods is represented by the apron. So that part was removed in 1990. However, Lucifer says, "See you are naked, take some fig leaves and make yourselves aprons. Father will see your nakedness, quick hide." Then the narrator tells us to do the same. Starting on page 49, we see the changes that were made in 2019. And in 2019, they removed Adam asking, "What is that apron you have on?" and Lucifer saying, "It's an emblem of my power and priesthoods." That was removed in 2019. Then the first mention of aprons is Lucifer saying, "See you are naked, take some fig leaves and make yourselves aprons. Father will see your nakedness." And again, we do the same. Then the changes that were made in 2023, the very beginning starts at page 83. So as of 2023, there is no conversation about aprons at all. Lucifer doesn't say a word and Adam doesn't say a word. Lucifer says, "See you are naked, Father will see your nakedness, quick hide." And the narrator says, "The eyes of Adam and Eve were opened and they knew that they were naked and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons." It was just their own idea. They just did it while they were hiding. This is kind of funny because now, although we don't see Adam and Satan having this conversation where Satan says, "Put on the apron," now I just envision it as Satan on his little shoulder saying, "Put on the apron," because again, it represents hiding from God, hiding your nakedness, just what Satan told him to do. This is significant because just like the Masons, you are wearing an apron to hide yourself from God while making secret oaths and covenants. That's why it matters. That is evil. That is bad. That is spiritually dangerous. That's why this matters. In fact, the people who notice this in this way realize the importance of getting out of the church and finding Jesus and breaking those evil secret oaths and covenants that they made. There are actually prayers of deliverance specifically to break Masonic oaths and Mormon temple oaths, to completely break and repent of those oaths and have no attachment to them anymore. Now, I thought that most people who have been attending the temple for years or decades would probably notice this change, notice that it is a little bit different than it has before and that Satan doesn't say anything about it. And I thought it was more significant for the new people going in for the first time, that they wouldn't know that it used to be different. However, I recently had a conversation with a family member who's been attending the temple since probably the 80s. And when I mentioned that Satan tells you to put on the apron in the temple, he said, "No, he doesn't. That's not right. It's Adam's idea. He just puts it on." So even after attending the temple for 40 plus years, the changes in the last 2 years has already changed his memory, and he already thinks of it as if it's just Adam's idea and Lucifer never said anything about an apron.